Okay, guys. So this is what we had on our last lesson, right? So now I want to talk about something called block level elements and inline level elements. The difference between the two, right? So we've been talking about these elements right here: the labels, the inputs, your unordered list there, right? So what's happening is there are different types of elements. We have block level elements and we also have inline level elements. A block level element, right, what it does is, let's create another page here. Let's call it block underscore inline, right? Block underscore inline dot html, like that, right? So let me quickly type in the doc type there, html. Let's put in the head. Inside the head we're gonna have our title, block versus inline, like that. Let's have our body. Inside our body, what I'm going to do is add a paragraph, right? I'm going to add a paragraph and I'm going to say Lauren, like so. Hit tab there, and then I'm going to copy this paragraph one more time, like that. Or even on top there, let's add an h1 here, right? Let's add an h1 that says hello world, like that. Let us save this and let us have a look at it in the browser. So what I need to do now, okay, let's go to the browser. I need to open this block underscore inline.html, right? Hit enter. You see this is the page we have here, right? These are this is the h1, this is the paragraph, and this is the other paragraph, right? We had added two paragraphs, right? Here, first paragraph and the second paragraph and the heading. Now these, the h1 and the paragraph, these are examples of block level elements, right? What we mean by that is this element spans the entire width, right, of where it's displayed, right? For instance, this is an h1, which is an example of a block level element. It takes the entire width. As you can see, we underneath the paragraph, underneath the h1, there's a paragraph, but the paragraph starts on a new line. It doesn't start on the same line as the h1. Even when you see here, there's some extra space here. The paragraph could have easily started on this line, but it doesn't. Why? Because this is because h1 and paragraphs are examples of block level elements, meaning the elements span the entire width of where they are found. Now, to better show you this, let's go to the head here, and I'm going to do something I haven't showed you yet. I'm going to add some CSS. So I'm going to say all my h1s on the page. Don't worry about what this means for now. We're going to talk about CSS in a later video. So I'm going to just go and say border here. I'm going to give all my h1s a border of 1, or maybe let's say 2 pixels, solid black, right? Black. And I'm going to do the same for my paragraphs, right? So let's change h1 to paragraph, right? Like that. Let's change this to red, like that. Save. Let's go to the browser, and as you can see, what we mean by block level, it takes up the entire width of where it's found, right? You see the h1, the border could have ended here, but it doesn't. It goes all the way till the end of the page, right? Same thing with your your paragraphs, right? They take up the entire width of the page. Now the paragraph, they don't take up the entire width simply because of the text is long. No, this is because a paragraph by nature, or rather by default, is a block level element. That's why you see that it spans the entire width in the web page, such that elements that come below it will go on the next line. Now an example of an inline element would be the opposite, meaning an element that only takes up as much space as it needs. An example of that would be a hyperlink, right? A hyperlink. So let's add a hashtag sign there. If you don't want your links to go anywhere, just add a hashtag sign there, right? So let's say home, for instance. Net for kicks. In fact, let's make it link to the home page, right? Let's make it link to the home page, index.html, like that. Let's add another link right next to this one that goes to the list, list.html, right? I will say list here, list. Now you would expect that this link would go on the next line, but it doesn't. Let's have a look. Let's have a look on the browser here. You see here are the two links. So if we go back here and say, okay, fine, we want all our links to also have a border, right? Let's make the border for all our links a yellow, right? Let's make them yellow, right? And let's go back here. Oops. Let's change this to a there so that we target links. As you can see here, let me zoom in a bit. There are our links here, right? They have a yellow border, and if you look at the border here, unlike our paragraphs and our h1, the list, because this is an example of a inline level element, it only takes up as much room as it needs. In this case, it only needs space for the text inside, which is home in this case, and in this case list. That's the space it needs, so it will use that space. And then the next element you place next to this one will go right next to it, right? Because these are inline elements. Now it's important that you understand this before we go on and talk about other types of tags. This logic here, block versus inline elements, will help you understand some of the things, some of the tags rather, that we're going to be using later on. So that's it for this lesson. See you on the next one.